or you sell to those who have cash flow problems, right? It's not about, is the world going to change? It always changes, and there's always problems. We just want to handle bigger problems, right? If I'm at a table with 10 successful people, I know the richest person at the table handles the biggest problems, has the ability to pivot, gains capabilities from other people, takes uncomfortable action, right? There's a lot of common traits there. So today, when I was thinking about what to share, I wrote down a few things. There's an inner and an outer game. When it comes to your inner game, your insecurities are going to be magnified. That's the word I wrote down. You're going to want to solve bigger problems. Be the person when there's a problem, you're like, bring it to me. I got this. Bring it to me, right? Don't freeze. This is not a time to freeze. And then you want a little motivation. Google when the most wealth is made. Google when the most successful companies are formed. It's always during a recession because you have less competition. It's easy to be successful when you're born on third base. It's easy to be successful if you're in real estate and you buy a piece of property. It takes you an extra 3 months to rehab. And because the market's moving so fast, you made an extra 20 grand. That's easy. Man, it's time to dig in. When you're challenged, most people can't hang. It's the time to thrive. It's the time to gain next level capabilities. It's time to not sit on your hands. It's time to anticipate your enemy. It's time to gain the knowledge to go to another level because your competition shrinks. So that's the inner game. You boys still there? You got any questions? You got any thoughts? Did I lose you guys? Okay, good. You guys are still there.
We're here. Yeah. We're just back here.
He's clicking buttons trying to get us in.
I want to go to the outer game, but I want to see you guys. I want to know. I can go on a rant here and
that's what we want, man. We're taking notes over here.
I was gonna say we were over here just listening.
You know, any thoughts? Any questions? This is your family here.
So how does somebody actually gain next level capabilities that might not think they're ready for it?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So, great question. First off, I know I'm going to harp on this. If you asked me in my 20s, what was mindset compared to strategies and tactics, I would have said, I don't need no mindset. I'm freaking a hustler. Give me the way to make money and I'll go all in. I would have said, Cody, I bet you agree with me, Pace, same thing. At 22, I would have said, 2% mindset, 98%. Give me the freaking plan.
All day. I would have said 100%, bro. Give me the work boots.
Right, I'm a freaking warrior. Give me the freaking path. I will crush it. Anybody in my way, I'll mow them down. Like that's how I would have felt.
If you said mindset to me, I'd say, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. At 53, and I've been blessed to have a little bit of success in my life and do beyond anything I joke with, and beyond anything I ever could have imagined at this phase of my life. I would say it's 90. It is 90-10, but it's 90% mindset, 10% the capabilities to do it. Because what stops most people? Listen, if you're watching right now and you're not at the level of success that you want, can we be really honest? If you're following Pace, you're following Cody, you have the opportunity to gain capabilities to thrive in real estate. You know what screwed you up, what's tripped you up, what stopped you is a belief that you have, a story you have, feeling like an imposter. I'm not good enough. You're setting expectations too small. You're afraid to dream. You're focusing on what went wrong, who let you down. You're focusing on the money. Like in your heart of hearts, and if you're in your 20s, you might even be saying to me, whatever, Dean, you're rich now. I get it. I would have said the same exact thing. I'm going to tell you, focus on your inner game. I don't care if that's listening to Tony Robbins, to Pace, to Cody, to a book that inspires you, to a podcast that lights you up. I'm telling you, the news and people around you will get you to play 10% smaller. And if you're playing 10% smaller, if you don't protect your confidence, you will coast and try to make it. And you'll wonder why you're running on a treadmill. You wonder why other people get ahead. Listen, Pace, you said something when we had a chance to have a podcast. You didn't release that podcast yet, did you? Or did you?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. I can't wait for people to see it. It was a great conversation. We got to know each other better. It was so awesome. But I said something. I've always worked on my mindset. The fact of the matter is I spent a lot of years in a relationship. I went through a divorce, and I'm not an advocate of divorce, but I did. And we were great friends and great co-parents, but we were just missing something. You want to talk about a mindset shift? I worked on my mindset every day of my life since I was 26 years old. I listened to an hour of an audio about mindset every day. Not some days, hear me, every day. 7 days a week, I spent an hour listening to an audio. I had made more money than I ever dreamt possible. I had 2 amazing kids, but I was in a relationship that was a little off. So still, though my mindset was good, though I was solid, I wasn't, can we just be honest, I wasn't totally congruent. You know, when you say, like, things look decent in public, but you're still like, you know what I'm talking about. I went through a divorce, one of the toughest times ever. I was worried about my kids. I made a decision to become a better man, to work on my mindset even more, to work on that 90% even more. I wanted to attract the most amazing human to be my partner in my life, and I realized I had to be a better man. And 5 years ago, I met the love. Think mindset is it? If you don't think your mindset is the foundation for all of it, then maybe today this is the reason you're here. I'm going to encourage you, strengthen your mind, and then gain the capabilities, and nothing will stop you. Because most people are going to get scared. Most people are going to sit on their hands. So I don't want to beat that up anymore, because you guys had enough of that. But I'm just encouraging that. Anything before I move on there, Cody?
No, I mean, I was around when you were going through that transition. I was watching you have just these insane panic attacks, trying to process through it. And I also know you today, and it's night and day difference. It really is. It's inspirationally night and day difference too. It just goes to show you with the right, like for me, it's always exposure. Like, I don't walk around going, oh, I really need to work on my mindset. But then I get proximity to somebody like you, and I watch the work that you're putting in, and I get exposed to a new set of principles, a new standard, a new way of operating software, and I'm like, oh.
Cody, let me ask you something. Pace, you and I are just becoming friends, and I'm really grateful that you're in my life. I mean that. You're a solid human. I see how much you care about your students. I know why you have 2,800 people on here, because I see your depth of care. And Cody, I've known you longer. When I get the chance to see you, Cody, do I ever ask you how much money you're making? What did I say to you when I saw your event? I pulled you to the side. You remember what I asked you? Or what I told you?
Yeah.
I said, Cody, I see you shifting. I can see you evolving evolving your thoughts, evolving what you're doing, because I know that if that keeps growing, Cody, if you get more aligned with who I know you're destined to be, and this is not me preaching like I'm perfect. I have a long way to go, but I'm proud of you, the man you are. I'm proud of your evolution, and I guarantee the more that you evolve in that direction, I guarantee the byproduct is more money's coming in, more confidence coming in. You have the ability to take uncomfortable action. When others are afraid and scared, you're hungry, you're going, you're secure, and I'm watching that. And I don't want to go too deep on that. I just want to share whatever you think your mindset is worth for your future. Maybe just double it. Maybe go up 10% and give it a shot.
Love it. So being around Tony, you've evolved. I mean, you were so big in real estate, and then later on, the first course you ever bought, you're now partners with Tony Robbins, right? So when you guys are sitting around talking and planning and strategizing and thinking about the next 5 years, where are you guys at, and what are some of the things you're thinking about?
Yeah, really great question. First off, I feel fortunate for that that Tony and I get to be friends, and he's got access to so many cool people. I thought I had great connections. I get to be friends with Tony. You get access to some really cool people. And if you listen to someone like Ray Dalio, who's probably one of the smartest people I've ever had the opportunity to learn from, you get a little scared on where things are going, right? And this could be longer than usual. And I don't want to scare everybody. If you look over since the beginning of America, there's been, I think, 28 recessions or depressions since the beginning of time. And the average they last is 18 months. So just know that, everybody, right? Tony's words, don't make things worse than they are, don't make them better than they are, but see them as they are and anticipate and prepare. So in this 18 months, though, this is a time where you really can gain an unfair advantage, right? So what do we talk about? Tony and I talk about giving people capabilities, let them see through the future, let them see where they want to go. I have to be honest with you, Cody. I'm at a place where I feel really blessed, especially the last 5 years, has set me up in a place where, if I didn't want to work again, and I bet you too either, I don't have to. Tony doesn't have to. But being in proximity of Tony, a lot of what we share, he's helped me evolve my thinking that we're put on this earth for two reasons: to grow and to impact others, right? And when you really think about that, it's growth and contribution. I think we all know people who've sold their businesses, got plenty of money in the bank, and were miserable for 20 years. Ended up getting divorced, ended up going through really tough times, depression, angst. So the money's not the thing, it's the money. And I am not saying money's not valuable. Money solves problems. Money allows you to impact others and do all that. But we've got to this point where when you get in a mindset of growth and contribution, impacting others while you're making money, man, it just changes the game. Like right now, Tony is doing his Unleash Your Power Within, UPW. He's done it for 42 years. We were on the phone Wednesday night talking like it was the first time he's ever done it. He does it 3 times a year, 4 times a year for 40 years, and it's almost exactly the same. And he's like, brother, people need this right now. This is what they're going through. They're in the mindset right now that uncertainty is so strong, they don't even realize that they're sitting in their chair waiting for someone to fix it. And this is our conversation. He's like, nobody's fucking coming. I have to get them out of their fucking, excuse my language, I have to get them out of their skin. I have to get them uncomfortable to know that they can take action, that they're stronger, they're better. And this is, I'm not exaggerating. This is our conversation, Tony and I, Wednesday night. He's like, I need them to be so uncomfortable with sitting in their seat doing nothing, because I don't care if they give me credit, because it's not really me, it's them. I just want to spark them. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant here. But that's our conversation. When you get that fired up about changing things and making an impact, the byproduct is your success gets to grow. So there's a lot of things I could share, Cody and Pace.
I love that, man. I love
That
it.
made me want to get out of my
Yeah,
chair
I was
right
like
now.
ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and right now, yesterday, I watched half of yesterday, and I'm live tomorrow or the next day, but I watched Tony yesterday, and you know, I'm partners with Tony, and I'm CEO and president of Tony's company as well. Only temporarily, I'm in there helping him shift. He went from in-person to virtual. But I have to tell you, he's my brother. We talk every single night. Like, there's not a day we don't go by. We either leave voice memos or talk. I watched him yesterday, and I watched him do the best presentation of his entire life yesterday. I'm not kidding you. 42 years of doing almost the same thing, but in his heart, he knows it's time to serve. It's time to grow. People need me. And the reason I'm sharing that, you're probably like, well, that's great for Tony Robbins. That's great. What's this got to do with me? The reason I'm sharing that with you is because what Tony and I have been doing together, one of our main company that we own together, is showing people how you, everybody watching, has the opportunity to do that in your own way. To share your experience, your life story, your mess that becomes a message, your skill, hobby, passion, expertise. You have that opportunity today more than ever to make an impact on others. And I know that's a big transition right now. You guys are the real estate guys now, you know, and that was my world for 20 years, right? And I'm so glad that you guys are sharing and helping. And Pace, thank you for sharing that beautiful story you did on your podcast. I'm gonna leave that as an open loop. You want to hear a story that blew me away that I had no idea? Pace shared something with me that filled my heart, gave me goosebumps when we were on the doing the podcast together. But one of our big missions this year is to show people, during a recession especially, that they should be selling what they know. And right now, as I say that, some of you are thinking, what the hell does that mean? Or, oh, I'm not Cody, I'm not Pace, I'm not Dean, I'm not an expert, I haven't made millions of dollars. Like, I think we get trapped in that small thinking. And if you guys are cool with it, I'd love to transition into talking about an opportunity where you should see where the puck is going, where you should at least investigate.
I think people are waiting for it. I'm looking at the comments. People are like, tell me how to do this.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a little backstory. And I'm like, am I taking too long here, you guys? If this is
No, we're on your time, dude. This whole thing was set up to listen to you, so.
All right, so I want to share something with you guys. In when I was 26 years old, real estate saved my life. Not a joke. I started buying rundown houses. My first one I got when I was 17, 19. Pace, you shared the one that I got. I think I was 21 or 22.
Mary.
Mary Lopresti. I had to be the creative.
He bought a whole auto body shop with units up above with nothing down but a hug.
I love that story.
It was a
My
hug.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, when you don't have anything but a hug, then you get creative. That's about all I had back there was a hug. But real estate saved my life. And I had real estate. I ended up having about 25 apartments, which cash flowed really well for me back then because I started with nothing owed hardly anything on. Then I started flipping houses. Then I started buying raw land and subdividing while I had a collision shop and bought a tow truck. And I'm hustling. I'm a broke kid running away from the trailer park, running away from my parents' 9 marriages and just wanted security and control of my life. And then I'm up late one night, I watched Tony Robbins, and he's with Tom Selleck, or I think it was Tom Selleck, that's how long ago it was, interviewing him. Some of you don't even know who Tom Selleck is, just big mustache, just remember that. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy this. I had never read a book in my life up to that point. That's a true story. I had never bought anything. And when I bought that course, some of the things I'm sharing with you today are probably ingrained in me because of that. I bought this course, and I remember when I bought it, my dad's like, "You did what?" And I bought every upsell. I bought Power Talk and all these things, and I paid like $397. And my dad's like, "Are you effing crazy? You paid a guy who's gonna talk to you? I'll talk to you for free, you know?" And long story short, I got Tony's audios. It was Personal Power, and I devoured every. It was so long ago. It was like the Sony Walkman with the big old cassette player on the side of my hip, and I walked every day and I listened to those tapes. And 2 things happened to me, and I'm sorry I got to go back and tell the whole story before I come into what I want to share with you guys. But I think it's really important to understand. I realized from what Tony taught me, some of the things I shared with you today, but that life happened for me. The craziness I had with my dad, and I had a bleeding ulcer at 12 years old because my dad was a little insane, but he was the youngest at 12 and was physically abused. He was sexually abused, and he just never worked on that, so he took it out on me and my sister, and that's why he was married a lot, and all this craziness was going on, and all of it I thought it was like, I'm making it in spite of that pain. And Tony made me realize I was making it because of that. I went from resenting my childhood to thanking my childhood. I went from focusing on what was wrong to focusing on what was right. So many things shifted because that man shared something he knew, and he learned it from Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn learned it from Mr. Chef, and Mr. Chef learned it from, we just learn it from other people, right? So I learned this from Tony, and all of a sudden I'm empowered. Hopefully maybe you got a glimpse of it today. Even a glimpse, I'd be happy, right? If you got one thing today, that's my whole goal. Long story short, I shift that, but the second thing I got, the second thing, more important, is I realized I paid Tony Robbins for information. Changed my life, he made money, and that day, literally there was a day in probably 1997 that I decided I was gonna go into this industry. I was gonna sell what I know. And that shifted my life forever. Now you gotta understand something. I have a collision shop. I drive a tow truck at night. I'm working on apartments. I'm flipping houses. I am working 20-hour days. And now I'm going to go into I'm going to be Tony Robbins. You can imagine my family. My sister literally drove up from Virginia and sat me down like an intervention, like I was getting off crack. Like, you've done so well. The family's proud of you. You're not an educator. You're not Tony Robbins. You don't have money. You're not 6'7". Like, it's never going to happen. You're the craziest human on the planet. Stop it. Right? And of course I had self-doubt and I questioned myself. And listen, the world was different back then. There was no online. That dates me. There wasn't even MySpace. I had to build an infomercial and put product in inventory and get a call center. I was 200 grand in on credit cards and every dollar I had. So of course my sister's like, you're going to go broke. And long story short, I launched a course and I've been in this industry ever since. Ups and downs, and now I get to be Tony's partner. But I realized in that moment, some of the things that I want to share with you today. I wasn't a multi-millionaire. I was on my way though, I was doing good. I didn't sell 500 houses. I sold 20 at the time. I didn't own 7,000 houses. I owned 15 at the time. But I was one chapter ahead of someone who never bought a house. Does that make sense? Sometimes in life, wouldn't you love to have someone a chapter ahead of you? And when you really narrow down what you do, I wasn't teaching people to buy multi-doors. I don't know what some of the stuff Pace does. I don't even know today some of the stuff Cody does. I wasn't the guy that bought multi-doors. I wasn't the type that bought $1 million deals down in New York City. I was really good at getting in houses with little or no money down, even your first one. And that was good enough for me. I helped people get in their first deal. That's how I started. And that evolved from nobody knowing my name to having a crazy New York accent, being broke, infomercial guy, to fast forward ups and downs. I got to be probably the #1 real estate educator in the world. I launched a book called Be a Real Estate Millionaire. It sold 1 million copies. I don't think any other real estate book in history has sold 1 million copies. I sold 1 million copies of that book. From a dyslexic kid who lived in a trailer park, I realized that I had a gift for that one thing. So fast forward to today. Tony and I become friends a decade ago, and every time we're together, we're talking about how self-education saved our lives, meaning he learned from Jim Rohn, I learned from him. It shifted our lives. This was an industry that was kind of like, people are in it, people weren't. Now it's an industry. 5 years ago, it was a $100 million a day industry. Right now, it's a $1 billion a day industry. About $340 billion this year is going to be equated to self-education, learning from other people. And what they're saying is this industry will be $1 trillion a year by 2028. And what is this industry? It's people, it's not just Pace or Cody or Dean Graziosi or Tony Robbins. It's regular people realizing that you have a life experience, a skill, a hobby, a passion, an expertise that could be a course, it could be a workshop, it could be a weekend training, it could be a monthly training, it could be a coaching program, it could be an ebook. And Tony and I, when we realized this, we got together and said, let's start showing people what we've learned over a combined 65 years in this industry and show you how to bolt this on your industry, how to identify what it is you should be selling, how to package it, how to sell it, and how to create revenue online selling what you know. And that's what we launched about 4 years ago, and it's become a movement. It's unbelievable. Last year we decided to teach people for free for 5 days. We called it the Own Your Future Challenge. We put 950,000 people in this challenge. It was unbelievable. We get to do that again this year. We're doing the Time to Thrive Challenge to show people that your greatest asset actually lives in you. Last thing I'll say, and then I'd love some feedback, guys. Sure, I'm hitting the mark here. Go ahead, Cody.
How does what you said, Time to Thrive Challenge, right? So, and that's a 5-day challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to invite people to it. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people
Here's
that
what I'll tell you. Here's what I'll tell you. Before you're done today, when you're on, I see there's 2,257 people. I'm gonna look, make sure 2,255 people, 57 people registered. I'm gonna give you a URL. It's called thrive255.com. Write that down, put it in the chat. If you guys don't mind, Chris and Lucia and Ken.
How do you spell that? Thrive, the number two?
THRIVE 255.com. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Kent. Thank you, Morgan, Elena. Thrive255.com. Not right now. When you're done here, go register. It's Tony Robbins and I for 5 days. We invited some friends like Russell Brunson and Jenna Kutcher. We even got Matthew McConaughey coming and Brendan Bouchard, some other people. But our whole 5 days is focused. It's not just the celebrity power. Tony and I are blessed to have really deep friends who are hell-bent on serving, to show you in day 1, why this, why you, why now. By day 2, we'll show you how to identify what you should be selling, how you should bolt this on your current company, how you sell a digital product. Day 3, we'll show you how to elegantly sell it through service. Day 4, how to build an audience. I know what you're thinking. I'm not an expert. Who would listen to me? I'm an introvert. I have no followers. No one knows my name. I get all that. I promise you we'll squash that. That's how 90% of the people are starting today. And day 5, we'll wrap it all together. Like, this is 5 days for free because we know the world needs it. Listen, here's an absolute fact. Tony's got a waiting list of people who want to pay him $1 million a year to be a consultant. And I'm not saying this to be a jackass. 4 weeks ago, someone paid me $250 grand for a day's worth of consulting. 6 hours, $250 grand, but I know I made him $10 million. I'm not saying it to be a jackass. I'm saying it because we are doing free, all in, 2 to 3 hours a day, immersive training to show you what you need to know to be a part of this industry. And we'd love for you to stay with us. We'd love for you to learn from us. But it is an amazing opportunity.
Here's a question. Mike says, have you read Green Lights? And I looked at Green Lights, and I think that that's kind of a self-education type of play with.
It's the reason. Green Lights is in my top 10 favorite books, especially Matthew McConaughey reading it. Did you read it, Cody, or listen to it?
I read it and listened to it.
Oh my God, that voice. So I listened to it, and fortunately had a connection to him. I got him on the phone. I'm like, dude, you're in my industry now. You're in Tony's industry. You went from acting, now you're in the self-education industry. Would you come be a part of our challenge? So he's coming on day 4, and he is stoked. So it's going to be pretty amazing.
So you're going to have Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, pretty cool.
On the free challenge.
On the free
That's
challenge,
dope.
yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Tony and I are going to be interviewing him. So,
and I think just something fun that Pace and I will do, just because I believe, I watched you do this the last few years, and the reason I like something like this right now is because of the way the market's shifting. I think a lot of people just need to think about what are other ways I can create some money right now? What are some ways I can create some income and get some more stability? Because that's what you got to do. You got to, I mean, even if you're in real estate, there's other things that you have in your life. If it's not real estate, there's other skills. You might be great at guitar. Teach people how to play guitar. One of my best students was a guitar player, and he only does real estate because he's so passionate about, he wants to play guitar and not worry about money. And
well, I love it. And here's what I want to say. I still do real estate every single day. I sold 3 houses yesterday, right? Real estate's still my life, and self-education is by far the thing that fills my heart the most and has made me the success that I've had, right? I've been blessed to make an insane amount of money from real estate. But self-education, what I love about it, and you could call it e-learning, self-education, upskill industry, information age, selling a digital product, course creator, coach, whatever you want to call it, there's nothing been more fulfilling. I mean, if I ask you guys right now, both of you could list hundreds in your head, but has anything been more rewarding knowing? I mean, Pace, when I met you, right? Cody, I've been blessed to watch you change lives for a long time. I met Pace. Within 15 minutes, he's like, you know what's been amazing to me? Did you know over 1,000 people just watching our YouTube videos have quit their job to be in real estate? That wasn't like, ha, ha, ha. It was more like his heart was speaking. Is there anything more rewarding than delivering people?
Even in the if we ask in the comments, how many people's lives have been changed by what Cody, Sperber, and I have done? And honestly, it's been the torch that was passed down to us from Dean Graziosi. It's one of the things I told him the other day, like him cutting through the jungle with a machete and showing us what this looks like. Like, guys, look in the comments, Dean, how many people you have impacted, like by passing the torch on to us through self-education.
I'd like to just say, anybody who registers for the free challenge, I'm down to throw in some fun goodies just to help, motivate people to go, show up, and sit through it, because I know it's going to be super powerful and impactful. I'm down to throw in some stuff.
Me too. I've got a question for you, though, because I'm sitting here thinking, there's people that might not come from Cody's world, my world. There's some people that kind of trickle into maybe an email blast or something like that. What if they say, I have nothing to offer? There's no reason I should be in the self-education business.
Watch the chat. I need you guys to like the chat. We got 200 people to like the chat. If you had a week to prepare, here's the question I want to ask in the chat.